Stuart fails to save the universe is unlike anything fans of The Big Bang Theory could have expected. Instead of another cozy sitcom filled with apartment conversations and laugh tracks, this spin-off throws one of the franchise's most overlooked characters into an outrageous multiverse adventure packed with monsters, alternate realities, bizarre science fiction, and surprisingly emotional storytelling. It is an incredibly bold creative gamble. The biggest question before watching is whether taking familiar sitcom characters and placing them inside an action-packed science fiction series could actually work. Surprisingly, for the most part, the answer is yes. The story begins in a version of Pasadena that has already fallen into chaos. The world has become a dangerous wasteland filled with strange creatures, while comic book store owner Stuart Bloom hides inside his shop alongside Denise, Bert, and Barry Kripke. Before anyone has time to understand what happened, another version of Stuart suddenly appears with unbelievable news. Reality itself is collapsing. According to this alternate Stuart, Sheldon Cooper and Leonard Hofstadter created an advanced quantum device, but after Stuart accidentally damaged it, the multiverse began falling apart. Now Stuart and his unlikely team must travel through countless alternate universes to repair reality before everything disappears forever. That setup immediately tells viewers this is not trying to be another traditional sitcom. Instead, Stuart fails to save the universe, embraces science fiction, fantasy, and absurd comedy with complete confidence. Every episode introduces a brand new universe with its own unique rules. One adventure may take place inside a peaceful utopia where everything seems almost too perfect. The next throws the group into dangerous post-apocalyptic landscapes or magical worlds that completely ignore the laws of physics. Because the story constantly jumps between realities, the series never feels repetitive. The unpredictable structure becomes one of its biggest strengths. Even if one particular universe or joke does not fully work, another completely different adventure arrives only minutes later. This keeps the pacing incredibly fast. Episodes rarely stay longer than 25 minutes, making the entire season feel easy to binge. Perhaps the biggest surprise is Stuart himself. During The Big Bang Theory, Stuart often existed as the lonely comic book store owner whose bad luck became the punchline. Here, the writers finally allow him to become a genuine protagonist. Kevin Sussman gives Stuart far more emotional depth than ever before. Beneath all the awkward humor is a man struggling with constant self-doubt. He is not trying to become a legendary hero. He simply wants to stop making mistakes and protect the people he loves. That emotional journey gives the series an unexpected heart. His relationship with Denise becomes especially important. Rather than serving only as comic relief, their connection adds real emotional stakes to the story. Lauren Lapkus delivers a charming performance that balances Stuart's insecurity with optimism and warmth. Brian Posehn also brings plenty of humor as Bert, whose awkward personality fits naturally into the increasingly ridiculous situations. Even when giant insects attack or reality begins collapsing, Bert somehow remains surprisingly believable. The series also benefits from Zach Penn joining the creative team. His experience writing large-scale science fiction adventures helps the show fully embrace its ambitious concept. Instead of treating the multiverse as a simple background idea, the writers constantly explore creative possibilities. There are playful references to famous Warner Brothers properties, clever science fiction jokes, and countless surprises for longtime fans of popular culture. The opening credits deserve special mention as well. Each episode includes changing hidden messages accompanied by a wonderfully playful musical theme. Even the episode titles remind viewers that the series never takes itself too seriously. However, not every creative decision works equally well. The biggest weakness is the comedy itself. While the multiverse ideas remain consistently imaginative, some of the actual jokes feel much more traditional. Several episodes rely heavily on broad physical comedy that sometimes overstays its welcome. Instead of allowing clever science fiction situations to create the humor naturally, the writing occasionally falls back on familiar sitcom-style punchlines. This creates an unusual contrast. The world itself constantly feels fresh. Some of the jokes do not. The early episodes also spend a little too much time explaining how everything works. Understandably, introducing an entirely new version of this universe requires plenty of setup, but those explanations occasionally interrupt the otherwise energetic pacing. Fortunately, once the adventure gains momentum, the storytelling becomes much smoother. Another mixed element is Barry Kripke. John Ross Bowie fully commits to the character once again, but many of his personality traits feel almost unchanged from the original series. While longtime fans may enjoy seeing him return, some of his jokes quickly become repetitive compared to the growth given to Stuart. Fortunately, these issues never completely derail the experience. The show's willingness to experiment keeps everything entertaining even when individual jokes miss the mark. Visually, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe also feels very different from its predecessor. The single-camera presentation gives every episode a much more cinematic appearance. Without the limitations of a traditional studio audience sitcom, the directors have far greater freedom to create imaginative worlds, larger action sequences, and more dynamic visual storytelling. It gives the series an identity that feels completely separate from The Big Bang Theory while still respecting its origins. Most importantly, the spin-off never forgets the love of science, comic books, and nerd culture that made the original series so successful. Those themes remain at the center of every adventure, even as the storytelling becomes stranger than anyone could have imagined. Stuart Fails to Save the Universe is certainly not designed for everyone. Fans hoping for another comfortable living room sitcom may be surprised by the darker humor, stronger language, and much more ambitious science fiction storytelling. But viewers willing to embrace something completely different will likely discover one of the most creative television experiments to come from this franchise. It is messy. It is unpredictable. It does not always succeed. Yet those same qualities also make it exciting. Instead of repeating what worked before, the creators take enormous creative risks and deliver something genuinely original. Stuart Fails to Save the Universe may never replace The Big Bang Theory, but it does prove that this universe still has room for fresh ideas. It is a flawed but highly entertaining adventure that transforms one of television's most overlooked side characters into the unlikely hero of one of the strangest sitcom spin-offs ever made.